Okay, let's see if this works. Just like many, many other things, this is an experiment. I've never tried, only thought about it. We're just going to take a very little bit of foil. Like, this is like 5 inches. I don't even think we need this much. Let's take like 5 inches square. Maybe it's maybe 10 centimeters. Okay, and crumple it up. Let's start with the first one and see if we can make it work. I'm going to squish it as much as you can. Just try to make as much of a perfect sphere as you can. Just pressing it into the table. You don't have to hurt your fingers. You can just kind of roll it. Press down all the sharp corners. See, this is very informational. This teaching you how to make a foil ball. Something you never imagined was possible. Look at the beauty. Look at the elegance. It's like from another planet. Anyway, so this is about the size of a marble right now. A little smaller. And maybe a little bigger than a chickpea. So, just trying to get a little more smooth, a little more round. And now, we're going to take this 14 gauge aluminum. You can get this on Amazon. You can do 12 gauge too. I happen to have 14 gauge in this plain aluminum silver color. So, we're going to take, I don't know how much. Let's just, to be on the safe side. It doesn't look like we need that much from the size of that foil ball. Let's say, let's say a foot. We'll take a foot. And we're going to make a loop. It's a very simple loop. Nothing exciting or special. And I'll make it a little bigger just in case we want to need to end up, yeah, I think we're going to scarf it at some point. So there we go. That's a good size loop. And we'll turn it on a right angle. And we're just going to hammer this entire thing just flat like this. Get yourself a nice mini anvil that you steal from teeny tiny mythical creatures, or just get a little block of wood and, you know, get a door hinge, hammer it to a block of wood or something, or a block of metal. And don't do it on your tabletop, especially if it's not strong table. Do it on the floor. Put something soft underneath it, like some leather, something soft but firm. And try to do it on a hard floor like concrete or tile. Definitely put something soft in between. You don't want to crack the tile. But anyway, we're going to take a regular hammer and we're just going to give it a few taps. Like just bang it a few times, maybe on each side or maybe just one side. Just kind of flatten it out about halfway. All right. I forgot to say, before you do anything else, you should get 2 pieces of wire. Make sure they're the same size because we are doing earrings after all. So try to make everything the same size before you actually go ahead and put the pieces together and mess with them and stuff. When you're done, it'll coil. It'll have all kinds of imperfections. It'll bend and coil and twist around all different ways you don't want it to. You could just flatten it and straighten it. You don't even have to, because what we're about to do next really means it doesn't matter. But if it makes you feel better, you can straighten it out first a little bit. Don't worry about it too much. All right, now let's see if this is going to work. We're going to take our foil ball. We are going to put this loop at the top. Let's make this a little bit more a little tighter. Okay. And press it against the foil ball and start wrapping. What will happen? I don't know. All I know is that so far we're just kind of coming along. Okay, now we're crossing over. And we're pressing it very tight from all angles. And we're just going to try to cover the entire foil ball. Now we're going to bend this up a little bit now so it's like perpendicular. Ooh, we got a sharp corner there. I don't like that. I want everything to be very rounded. Wonder if we can hammer it. If we put it down on here. Ooh, that turned the whole thing oval. Okay, let's be careful not to do that again. All right, well, let's just keep going with it. See what happens. Try not to go over the same spot twice. So even if I have to wrestle the wire a little bit, I'm trying to cover up all of the aluminum foil crinkled ball to make an aluminum flat wire ball. And so far it is looking a little bit like a horrible mess, but we're going to just keep going with this, see what we can come up with. I'm trying to wrap it around more around the spots it hasn't gotten to yet. And I am out of I'm out of wire, and I only covered about 3/4 of it. You can still see the regular foil shining through. I have just enough left to scarf it, which I wanted to do, which is good. That's how I wanted to end it. But just gonna pull this out again and cut it. Just enough so I can tuck that in. Tucking it sometimes takes a little bit of muscle. You got to really squeeze it hard and get it tight. Not tremendous muscle, but you got to be really firm with it. Don't be afraid to really squeeze it. So I like this. This is cool. It's fun. I think I can make something with it. It's not the amount of coverage I was going for. So once again, I didn't give myself enough wire. I thought I was giving myself too much, but it actually wasn't enough. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this guy, start over again. This time I'm going to do 2 whole feet, maybe a little more, 2 feet, 2 inches. And I'm going to, that's like 2/3 of a meter. And again, I'm going to make 2 of them the same. And we'll start this over. I'm finding that hammering on your lap on a block of wood with some leather like this actually gives you better leverage and is easier on your overall body than trying to kneel on the floor and hammer, or do it from a table would be comfortable, but then a lot of tables are not strong enough. You don't want to hurt your table. You definitely want to put some earplugs in, because this gets really loud when it's this close to your ear. But finding that this is like really just the right amount of padding that you get from just putting it on your legs. It actually doesn't hurt at all. You can hardly feel it. It's coming out pretty nice. So that's just another tip I just discovered. Another thing is, instead of trying to hammer it really flat in one shot, to go across the whole thing and just give it the first hit of flatness, just to get rid of the roundness. You can get it smoother, and then you can come back for another pass and get it even flatter. That sounds like it would take longer, but in the long run it takes about the same amount of time, and that way you don't get like these weird edges where you get it a little bit too flat and then not as flat, and it's a lot more uneven. I don't know if you can see that. So that's what, now this is just fun and industrial, so mistakes are welcome. So I'm not stressing too much over this, but the idea is to get a little bit smoother and better at this each time. Also, I had to make several of these before I could make 2 that were really close enough in the same size. So don't be afraid to really mess around with this and just keep on trying things until you find something that works. So these guys are really long now, and we're going to try this again. So just wrapping and having a good time tonight. Right now it's just, I'm gonna start pressing every little millimeter as I go, because I don't want to get those sharp corners anymore. I already got another sharp corner right there, see that? So to avoid that, I'm gonna see if I can just keep pressing evenly as I roll really tight. Now, I got 3 layers here, 3 stripes. I don't want to keep going that way, or I'll just have a cylinder. So I'm going to have to cross over now at this point and start coming across another part of the circle. And now there's another corner. Is that no? That's one of the first corners. Okay. And now it's going to cross over. Some of it will just flow naturally. Some of it you might have to direct it a little bit. I'm coming across the top. It's tight enough that I'm now going to bend the what's it called? The loop up to a right angle, coming up off of the foil ball and come across there. This one is looking more promising. We will see. Okay. Yeah, I'm liking this. It's not perfect, believe me. It looks very messy. It does not look like you know, if you were to draw how you want it to look. There's definitely a pattern you could learn if you did this 100 times, but we're just having fun today and just seeing if we can do this at all. And it looks like it is working. So the idea is to try to cover up all of the foil with the aluminum wire. And I'm mostly just going over the same wire on top of itself, but every pass I'm slowly covering more of the aluminum, and that is good because that's the plan. And this ball is getting bigger, but that's okay because it's still incredibly lightweight. And as long as I keep, there we go. I think, there we go. That's kind of what I wanted. I don't really want to be a stickler like every single tiny bit of the foil has to be covered, but I want to cover enough of it that when at first glance you just think that I did this completely out of wire with nothing in the middle. Why didn't I do it completely out of wire with nothing in the middle? Because it's a lot harder to get a round shape. So I wanted to have that foil ball as a basis to make sure we ended up with a round shape and not some weird shape that kept repeating itself. So now I have enough left right here. And I'm back up. As soon as you have like just an inch or two left and you come back up towards the area of the loop, it's a good time to give yourself your scarf. And you only need to go around once. Although you can go around 1.5 times if you have room, like I do right here, to cut it and tuck it. So at least we have enough of a loop that we can squeeze a jump ring in there very easily, or 2 jump rings if needed. So see that sharp end there? We're not just pinching it in, we're pinching it down into, you have to readjust the pliers from several different angles as you move it, but boom, it's in, no sharp end anywhere. And that is good. It's tucked, looks cool. Has a little bit of weight, not too bad for earrings. It's a lot less weight than obviously a heavier material this size. So let's do our next one. The second one, I tried a different pattern and it came out looser, messier, almost a little less stable. I tried to direct it more instead of just letting it flow. It didn't work out quite as good. I actually had to cut off a couple inches at the end so it wouldn't get bigger than the other one. But you can see, this is my first one here. I'll put it on this side. This is my first one, and this is my second one. But really, to the person who wasn't watching the whole time, I'm sure they look identical. So we're gonna put the just gonna put little accent beads at the top. We're gonna do 2 8mm amethyst and 2 6mm. They're like a blue shell composite, like a bunch of pieces of little tiny shell with blue. Very pretty. Anyway, we're just gonna take regular silver wire, silver plated copper. 20 or 18 gauge would be perfect. I happen to only have 22 gauge, but we'll make it work. The rest of my wire is in another city right now. So let's cut off about 5 inches, and we'll take our little bead, put it through to the middle of the wire, give it a crimp on each end, give it a cute little loop, can use your round nose pliers, get a nice tight loop. Do the same on this end. You want to bend it right angle first and then wrap it around, roll it. I want it a little bigger so I can scarf it. There we go. And then, you know, make sure it's tight against the stone. Wrap it around the loop once to secure it. Do it again on this side. Make that a little bigger. Wrap it around. Sorry if I went off camera. Wrap it around the loop once like that. And then these guys are going to go across like this. Make that cute little decoration there. And then each side is going to scarf the loop at the top. Just wrap it around about 3 times or 4 if you have room. And then cut it across. Make sure you don't cut the wrong part of the wire. Cut just enough of a tab that you can tuck it in to the little bowl formed by the scarf. Like so. Sometimes you got to reposition the pliers a few times to really pinch it in. You want it to go in the bowl and tuck and down. And do the same thing on this side. You can leave these wires. They don't have to touch the stone. They can be a little bit loose. So it gives like a cool effect. Like rings around Saturn. And do the same thing here. And then do the same thing with the 6mm beads. And then we connect these with little jump rings and these with big jump rings. I think these are 4mm and these are 8mm or maybe 10. And then we put little earring hooks at the top.